All right, ladies and gentlemen, hope you're all doing well. Welcome to yet another edition of London Session. Apologies for being a little bit late to the stream today. As I always say, better late than never. So guys, let's have a good one. Maybe just a shorter one today, but anyway, we'll see what we can come up with moving forward. Meantime, guys, let's get this show on the road. So as always, good morning, good afternoon, and a very, very good evening, no matter where we are around the world. And welcome yet again to another edition of London Session. So interesting, is the forever bubble popping, guys? Are we about to come back down to earth? We've got gold popping back to that 4K region. We've got Bitcoin below 90K, well below the 100K, Ethereum below 3K. You've got the Nasdaq well below 25,000 here as well. Are we just pulling back to continue in line with what has been a massive uptrend on all these assets? Or is the bubble cracking about to pop? Or has it already popped? Remains to be seen in my personal opinion. I'm not of the belief yet that everything is going to come crashing down just yet. I do believe gold has still some potential upside, or a lot of upside, but in the near term anyway, prior to maybe making a bit of a deep pullback. But anyway, guys, without further ado, let's get onto the charts. Let's have a look at things. Guys, you know the drill. If you could, YouTube, don't forget, please smash that like button. TikTok, hit that little screen for me. Let's first of all, let's start with the news to see if there is anything of significance for our session here today. Nothing at all. But it looks like things, absolutely nothing. Moving forward into NY. Yeah, so a pretty quiet day when it comes to news, but as always, anything could break at any given point in time, especially while this man is the president. So interesting times. All right, guys, let's have a look at the charts. Any questions, anything you'd like me to go over or look at, please, you guys know the drill. Feel free to pop that into the chat and I'll get to you all shortly. But in the meantime, let's have a look at the gold, and let's start in the weekly time frame. And look at that, guys. So as I mentioned yesterday on yesterday's stream, that the significance of that upper wick and that previous candle suggests to me that we've perhaps grabbed some upside liquidity. And if in fact we were to pop below the low of that previous weekly candle, I do believe there is a higher probability that at that point there, price will continue to the downside, and eventually more probable that we will end up closing a bearish candle for the weekly. It's still early into the week, so anything could happen. But just based off that rejection on the previous weekly candle. Onto the daily time frame here, we do have the candle probabilities being to the downside. Had multiple daily candles closing back bearish. The current candle's obviously got a lower high, lower low to the previous. We are approaching that previous weekly candle's low. However, if we were to continue bearish, there is not much of a need for us to pop back up and break our own high. So we will mark that level in, and we'll make our way down to the 4-hour time frame. And as we can see, the 4 hours still technically bearish in structure, but we are fast approaching a level of support. So, I mean, it's obviously a key level. It's a big, strong level, and it lines up that 4K flat region. So psychological round number, we'll use that as the most recent 4-hour support. Most recent 4-hour resistance, I mean, we're far off it to be honest, but we'll just mark it in nonetheless, and we'll adjust things accordingly on the M15. So we are close to a support. So normally off the back of that, as you guys often hear me say, you always, irrespective of the bias and structure, you need to ask yourself, where are you on the chart? And if you are tapping into a strong level of support in a bit of a downtrend, likelihood is that we're going to get a little bit of a bounce off it. So it would not necessarily make all that much sense to sell into it. Your options are going to either be A, looking for a buy from the support with the right sort of confirmation, not just one single candle after a big sell-off, you need a little bit more than that. Or B, waiting for a pullback to look for a sell with more margin to potentially create lower high and retest the lows. And again, as I mentioned yesterday, the more you tap into a level, the more likely eventually it will break through. So that's the scenario here on the 4-hour time frame. We'll make our way down now to the M15, and we'll see where we are, or what sort of areas we have for a potential move back up off the back of the 15-minute time frame. All right, so onto the 15, and we are also technically bearish. Let's just hover across here to the left. All right. So obviously we are very close to a strong level of support. So off the back of that, I'm not really likely going to be, I'm not going to be looking for any continuation sell, because the fact of the matter is, you are looking for a sell, you really would have had to be in from higher up, or maybe up the back of that previous candle. But you're selling into the 4-hour support. So what I'm looking at is, where is the most recent resistance formed on the move to the downside within the current daily candle? Reason why I want to identify that area is because if we were now to continue bearish, that should act as a barrier if price did begin to pull back, and we'd be looking out for rejection and a potential sell again upon the pullback, upon a confirmation of an equal high slash, you could argue it's a lower high. It's not a real swing, it's a bit of a pause in price action, and you could look for a sell off the back of that. Now for that to be valid, you really want it to make a clean move. Now, the last thing you want in this next 5 minutes is for this candle flip back and close back a bullish candle. Just means it's likely not going to be the margin if it does in fact reject this zone again for a sell. So now, having said that, if we were to continue bearish, and there really is no need for us to pop back above that resistance, at that point there, we could potentially look for the exact same sort of scenarios yesterday, guys. Who remembers yesterday what I mentioned at the beginning of the stream? We could look for a buy option to take it up to the level where we'd like to get involved in a potential sell. We got 2 trades on stream yesterday. Exactly as what I'm just mentioning now, we took the buy option to take it up to a level where we could potentially sell from, and we also got the sell towards the end of the stream as well. So very similar scenario here today, guys. I'm not going to look for a sell upon a continuation at the moment. There is just no margin, and the fact of the matter is I've missed the move if I'm not already in a sell. So I'm patiently going to wait to see how price pulls back and reacts to 4,015, really 4,014, 4,016, that sort of region. And if we do reject, potentially we could look for some sell options. If we begin to pop above it, as I mentioned just before, I'd be looking for a buy to take it back up to a potential level where I could eventually look for a sell from, which is around that 4,024 to 25 sort of region. So that is the plan for me today on the gold. Why is that not working? That's it. So hopefully that makes sense. Very similar plan to yesterday. So my bias is more bearish, but I'm not going to look for a sell just now. I'll need to wait for that pullback and see how we react to that resistance. Now, look, potential further buy options. As I mentioned, we really do need to pop down into this level of support. I would not look to buy it if we don't pop down to this level of support prior to popping back above that 4,015, if that makes sense. So if it does pop down, I need a little bit of a little bit of structure on the minor time frame to form from these lows to begin to trust any potential buy from the support. So that is the only way I will consider it, because what we've got to consider is the fact that we are in a pretty strong move to the downside in the minute. Again, I am very, very bullish on gold personally when it comes to the longer term perspective. But the fact of the matter is, as a scalper, the way I see things right now, I am more bearish on gold. So you need to be patient with any counter trend buy options. So that's exactly what I will be doing. Hopefully that makes sense, guys. If it does, or even if it doesn't, smash the like button on YouTube, TikTok, hit that little screen. We are on an absolute roll. I do need to update the trades stream record and remove trades taken. If not, that was yesterday. Yesterday was 2 wins on gold. Stream record should read 134 and 33 losses instead of 133 and 33. So quickly just adjust that. Now we'll say good day to you all in the chat. I've had a hectic day, guys. A crazy day. Got stuck in some absolute shit fight of traffic, shit house traffic. I got stuck for about an hour and 20 minutes before making my way back from the other side of town. So I'm really, to be honest, I'm lucky to be here. I really couldn't be bothered, but I thought may as well jump on for a bit and just see how the charts are. So help me out by hitting the like button. So the stream record is 80.24 now. 134 wins and 33 losses. All right, who we got? Stanley, good day to you. Franco, brother, hope you're well. Rabbi, hope you're well, brother. Good afternoon to you. KWS Multimedia, good morning to you. Good morning, Traderlicious. Good day to you, Lau. Bartman, sorry, appreciate appreciate it. Yep, give it a like. Paul, good day to you, brother. Tickety Talk, thank you to the 70 or 69 on stream. Nice number. 6 new followers, appreciate it. Tala, thank you for the sticker. And let me go through the chat while we wait on gold here, see if I missed anything. Michael, good day to you, welcome. BDG, thank you for sharing the live. Lockie, good day to you, welcome, mate. Carl, what on earth is going on with gold? Just a bit of a pullback. I think it's to do with a little bit of manipulation by the big banks, in all honesty, the bullion banks. Because they are heavily short, naked short, paper contracts on gold, more so silver and platinum. So I think there's a contract expiry coming up on the 28th of November. So they're really desperately trying to keep the price down. And it's to do with demand, supply and demand, and that sort of thing as well. So when the contracts expire on the 28th, the banks, the entities, I'll call them, with the possession of the contracts have the right to ask for physical delivery of the gold and silver. So that could get very interesting, because if they fail to deliver, then you're going to see gold and silver at new all-time highs and price discovery territories that you probably would not have imagined, to be honest. And apparently it's not, you know, it's not that far-fetched, sorry, is what I'm trying to say. It could possibly happen. So it will be interesting, but maybe that's a little bit to do with it. I reckon the bullion banks are trying to squash the price a little bit. Joe King, good day to you. How about BTC Yard? Yeah, big sell-off on Bitcoin. I'm full transparency, I've been out of crypto for a long time now, and I do not plan on getting back in anytime soon. I believe Bitcoin, along with the other cryptos, really have a huge way to fall potentially. So I don't trust that. I know if things, you know, go to bust with you know, recession, that type of thing, and the bubble is popped when it comes to equities, I know gold and silver will be impacted as well, but not as much as the more risky assets such as the cryptos, the tech stocks, so on and so forth. Plus they will recover a lot quicker than your tech stocks as well, so your risk on assets. So for me, the place to be is still gold and silver, even platinum as well, but it's just very hard to get your hands on platinum. Even gold and silver at the moment, I had a look at my bullion dealer just before the stream. Picked up, as I mentioned, 4 more ounces of silver over the weekend, and it is becoming very difficult to find it now. They've got minimal stock. Joking, Dion here. Okay, nice one. My brother's got the same name. An easy one for me. Kathy, are you currently in a trade? No, I'm not. I just got to the charts. So not a bad rejection on that candle, but again, we've not tapped into a level of significance yet. So irrespective of the fact that we left a long lower wick, which it could be at times a signal for me to take a trade, that would have been had we have tapped into this zone, because I would have been satisfied that we may have grabbed enough liquidity from the downside, closing back weak bearish, in order to look for a move back up towards that resistance again. But we have not tapped into that level, so would not have been interested in that trade, because my concern is that we still could come down a little bit further. So where I'd be more comfortable to get involved in a buy prior to tapping into this support is when price is broken through a barrier formed on the move to the downside, and that barrier is the resistance at 4,015, 16, that sort of region. So until we do that, so until we come back down here, the only other area I would consider buys is back above 4,016. Heck, did I get wrecked on what? I'm not wrecked. Crypto, I didn't get... The first time I sold, I got wrecked. That was 2021 or something. I definitely got wrecked on that. Last time I sold it, I just sold too early, but I needed access to, I needed liquidity at the time. And I didn't want to sell silver or gold physical, so I chose the crypto. And to be honest, I'm not fast. I mean, I'm very happy with my entries on both gold and silver, especially silver. Silver is just, yeah, I love silver. I mean, I like wearing silver. I'm not a fan of jewelry. I do have a gold chain, which I like. I will not wear silver. But as far as a metal to accumulate, I love the silver coins. Talking about 3 9s, 4 9s, fine. So as pure as you can get. Lloydie, looking for gold sells, potentially ink up. So you think after 28th, gold will explode higher? It potentially could if there's a failure to deliver on potential requests of contract fulfillment. But, you know, don't hold me to it, because the banks are going to do their best to manipulate things. And they tend to win for the most part, but eventually it's going to happen. It's just only so many times that they can try to keep the price down before they get absolutely wrecked. So I do anticipate some big banks will probably go under. I'm not saying the major ones, because they'll always get bailed out. It's just fact, they always do. But it might be some surprises. Nicole, Bitcoin. All right, if you're asking me to analyze the way I trade gold, I'll do that for you now. So what I can see is the weekly strong bearish. We've obviously got lower high, lower low to the previous. Daily also counter probabilities to downside. Daily to me looks like it's got the potential, as I mentioned yesterday, to come all the way back down towards that 84, 83 sort of region. Now, having said that, seeing we have created a lower high, lower low, we don't really have much of a need to pop back up and break our own high. So I would mark that level in. Onto the 4 hour, that is also the most recent resistance on the 4 hour. So that makes perfect sense to look for buys above that point. Because again, if we do pull back and if we were to continue bearish, there is no need for us to pop back above it. Close above it, you could look for a potential minor time frame support above it and look for a potential buy for the back of that. Structurally, it's definitely bearish in the 4 hour. Let's have a look to the left. Yeah, the 4 hour is also quite clean. The 4 hour could potentially come back down towards 87.40 before you got a little bit of resistance or previous support. So that's a couple of $1,000 move there. Let's make our way down to the 15-minute time frame. Very bearish here in the 15 as well. I'll just be marking that as the most recent support. Now, the level where structure flips back bullish is also quite clean, actually, to the upside. So for me, I'd be looking for Bitcoin sells. Let's just zoom out. I don't know if I'll have the data. No, I don't. But I'm assuming it's quite clean because it is on the 4 hour and the daily. So I'd be looking for, seeing what bounced off the daily low, I'd be looking for price to reapproach that daily low, close below it, and continuation sells once you got that confirmation of lower low. Aside from that, be looking for a pullback sell back around that 90,000, 91,000. I just use the psychological number 91,000, and anywhere above that level, there could be options to take a buy to look for a potential sell later on. That's what I would suggest. I would not be bullish again though, more bullish until the 4 hour structure flips, which is back above 92,350. So otherwise, I'd be looking for the confirmations of sells upon the pullback or upon continuation below the low. And that would be my play on Bitcoin. Gold rejecting yet again. So that's what I meant, guys. The fact that we've not tapped into this level is a concern. Looking for any buys prior to popping above here, because we have just reversed and it looks like there is a high chance of us coming back down to this support now. Unfortunately, there is not the margin for me to look for that sell. And it's nowhere near a 1-to-1 as well. So it's going to be one where I would need to avoid, but it justifies why I'm not looking to buy it unless we tap into this support. Otherwise, I need to buy it above 4,016. Hopefully that makes sense. Lucky Silver is late. I bought my first ounce at 24. Nice one, mate. Yeah, I've been buying from around the $19 mark. Nolan, SPY. Really need to. Hate looking at those sort of indices, to be honest, because of the gaps in it. Looks exactly like Bitcoin, in all honesty. It's tapped into support though. That's the difference. It's tapped into weekly support, so it's going to be tricky, I think, to sell it unless it's upon the pullback. It's also tapped into daily support. 4 hours bearish. 4 hour has more room to potentially to the downside though. Just open the new candle. 4 hour looks really good for sells if this candle breaks its own low again, because I'm assuming that it popped down to break the low of that previous candle at the open. It's now popping up to create the upper wick. So now if it was to continue bullish, it has no need to pull back down and break its own low again. And if it does, what we can see is we have some clean traffic to the left. I do believe there's a high probability that price could eventually come all the way back down to 65.50 roughly, if that is to be the case. So I'd be looking out for continuation sells below the 4 hour low. Onto the 15. Yep, that looks absolutely mint for a sell below that point. Yeah, 100% is where that's where I'll be looking for continuation sells. Otherwise, I'd be looking for pullback sells. Now, structure, technically, the way I see it's not flipping until back above the daily high, because we have not confirmed a lower low here. This is lowest point of the impulse to the downside. Why I say we've not confirmed lower low, because we have not closed below that wick. So therefore, this rejection does not confirm a lower low. So therefore, this is not the most recent last significant lower high. For me, that level is back above here. So what you could look for is pullback sells. I would just concentrate on the sells, to be honest. It's in a pretty strong pullback phase at the minute. Yeah, I mean, for me to consider a buy on it, I'd probably prefer to see at least a 4 hour strong bullish closure. And then if you're above that resistance, maybe off the back of that, you would start to form some structure to the upside and then potentially look for a buy, sorry. My members, I will send you a link, but not sure if it's going to be really worth it. I don't know how long I'll be on for, but I'll send it either way. Black Friday is coming. It is approaching, guys. Shall I do a can't even speak. A Black Friday special? Is it worth it? Black Friday special for the VIP. Never done it before. Never even thought about it. KP, thank you for the stickers, by the way. Nolan, that's what I saw today. Once BTC started to drop, SPY did as well. Had to get great, put up, nice one. Michael, yes, with the Black Friday. I'll consider something, guys. I will consider something. Jared, my bias is bearish. Bar man? Yeah, it's pretty much the same as Bangkok, man. It was horrendous, honestly. I was really getting in a bad mood. I hate getting stuck in traffic. Lawsy, go to you, mate. One of the YouTube subscriber, one of the members. Hey, they've been tuning in most Arvos, learnt heaps, and have become more profitable than I was before. Massive thanks. Massive thank you to you for your support as well, my friend. Glad to hear that you are getting better and more consistent and seeing some good results. So nice work, my friend. Rabbi, what company am I buying silver from? I buy from Bullion Now. They tend to have the lowest premiums on silver and gold for that matter. So that's where I buy mine from. And what I do is they give you storage options as well, which is very helpful, because last thing I want to do is store, you know, a large amount of silver under my bed or anything like that. So they do give options to store. I keep a few coins here just because they're cool. I showed a few on stream before. Nolan, I'm really hoping for a pullback to mid-70s in BTC, so I can get a bit. Yeah, fair enough, mate. Yeah, for me, I'm still not sure as to what point I may consider starting to get involved in crypto again. I'm hoping for gold and silver to make big pullbacks, in all honesty. Really wanting gold and silver to drop. Maybe greedy, but I don't feel I've got enough, to be honest. So I would prefer them to drop because I have conviction that they will be a lot higher than what they are now in the future. You found Ainsley Bullion to be the cheapest? I had a look at Ainsley. I think Bullion now is just a little bit more competitive, to be honest. Alright, so a close strong bearish here. It's also a liquidity candle, so what I mean by that is we had a higher low, higher high at some point, only to pull back and break the low. So off the back of that, there's a high probability of the next candle making a continuation to the downside. However, this candle's got no lower wick, so irrespective of the liquidity candle, there is no entry without that lower wick. So what often follows is exactly what's happening just now. The following candle pops straight down to create, it's kind of like the residual volume left over from the candle that had no lower wick. Pops straight down, then it pops up to create an upper wick. Some people prematurely jump into a trade and then they get stuck in a drawdown. Whereas you could potentially look for a continuation below the low. I would avoid it definitely in this situation because you're right up near the support. So yeah, so that is what I see in regards to that price action pattern. Honey, gold, yep, we're watching gold. So not yet tapped into the 4-hour support, so I'm still not considering buys until we either tap into this support and give me some sort of confirmation in regards to some minor time frame, micro time frame structure to look for a potential buy from the support. Otherwise, the only other level I would consider a buy is above the resistance, the most recent resistance. And for me, I do prefer to sell, but it would be upon the pullback to that 4,015 sort of region for a potential rejection and sell option. Only if gold drops 15%, I'd drop a good bit back into it. Yeah, I'd be pretty happy if a 15% drop too, my friend. I would be very happy with it. I would drop significant amount into it, to be honest, and I would not be fearful if it continues to drop. I've bought silver all the way up. I bought it when it was more expensive than what it is just now as well. It was more expensive in the weekend than when I bought it as well. So my average buy-in, as I mentioned, would be close to around that $30 US mark, and it's at just under 50 now, 49. And even if it tanked to 20, I would love it. I would honestly love it. I don't see it happening though. Doesn't mean it can't pull back. I do believe maybe the low 40s. Potentially. If shit hits the fan. I think that psychological 40 round mark could be well defended, in all honesty. So, fortunately, when you're buying physical, you can't place a buy limit, so it triggers it, so it automatically buys an ounce of silver, physical silver, whatever it is, however many ounces it is that you want to accumulate. Yeah, Rabbi said, check out Bullion now, mate. Highly recommended. Service is fantastic. I've never ever had an issue with them. Spoken to them a few times as well. Never actually been to the office or to the retail, the outlet or shop. Only bought online, but I have called them a few times and customer service is fantastic. Really, really good. They have a YouTube channel as well. GJ up to, not had a look at it at all today. Looks like an absolute shit fight again on GJ. How about we not look at it? So does GU. To be honest, GU doesn't look much better. Just consulting. I mean, not a bad rejection on that previous candle, tapping into the resistance at the daily high only to reject. GU to me, I'd be marking that level in. I wouldn't consider any buys until price pops above it. It is pretty strong to the downside lately. We do have a bit of strength in the US dollar, so the majors are dropping, as is gold. But as you guys know what I feel about that, they don't always inversely correlate. So I have no interest in looking at DXY when I'm looking to trade gold. I only watch XAUUSD. But if it works for you, don't let me stop you. I love that. Good day to you. Rabbi, we'll do all good, mate. I think you'll find they're really good. So if not quite tapped in, got very close to it. Zard, I must say, this week going to so much fun to trade, especially when market in fear. Been a good start to the week. We're 2-0 on yesterday's stream. I mean, it's always fun to trade. Well, actually, let's face it, trading is not meant to be exhilarating, is it? Not like a video game where you're pressing buttons constantly. I mean, some of you are. I've got no doubt. Some of you are in and out every 2 seconds. But for me, it's almost like a game of chess, and I need to wait for my opponent to patiently create the move. Sometimes my opponent takes hours or days to decide where it wants to move, and then I look for a counter attack, or obviously I counter their move with what I believe is a probable move to get them at checkmate, and get a probable result for me, a profitable result. So pretty boring, but it can be very rewarding, obviously. All right, it's tapped in. Nice one, guys. So now we can, moving forward, consider bias window support. We've tapped into the 4-hour level here. And look at it instantly bouncing a little bit off it. So you often get reactions to these higher time frame levels. Doesn't mean it can't burst straight through it. I'm not chasing any sell at the moment because it is a very strong level of support. Is there anything in between? Adjusted to that point there, but I still don't really see any options to take it further down. But anyway. SB, my bias for gold is bearish, but I'm not selling it into support, so I potentially could look for buys from it. Otherwise, sells upon the pullback. Lockie, I believe gold will continue down for a couple of candles. Good. Gemo, any analysis on EU? I can quickly look at it. It's probably the same as GU. Yeah, it looks like an absolute mess as well, to be honest. But because you asked, I always say feel free to ask for me to have a look at a pair. So look at this. We're looking at this at EU. A bit of rejection on the current weekly candle. It is an inside bar candle. Onto the daily strong bearish candle on the previous daily candle closure. Let's have a look to see once we go down to my time frame what we've got below that low. Also, it's marking the current day's high and see what we've got above that point. Onto the 4-hour. Structurally, it is actually bullish here on the 4-hour. It has retested and respected the last significant higher low here on the 4-hour. So technically speaking, we are bullish in structure, and it's a big zone, but we'll adjust it shortly. As far as resistance, that's the most recent. Now let's go down to the 15-minute here. And all right, so we'll adjust these zones a little bit. use that zone there. All right, it's a mess. It is very, very ugly at the minute on EU. So that being said, I really don't see any clean options. It's just consolidating below resistance, but below it, you're running straight into support. So what I prefer to see in this situation, something I always mention to my members, we're always going to be in a tradable area. So when we're not, and when we're within an area of consolidation like so, accumulation, what you need to do really is to let it create a move, whether it be a clean move down, see how price reacts to that support and look for a potential buy option, seeing it's just be respecting the support at the range low, or a clean move up, rejection of the resistance, and once again look for a potential sell back down. But seeing we are at the resistance, for me there is no sells at the minute, so you're likely going to need to wait for the clean move down and support to form. Further options potentially could be a clean move up to cut through this mess, and if it pops above this 1.1606, then there could be an option to take it up to the highest point of the resistance. Not a great deal of margin though. For me, EU just needs to decide what sort of direction it wants to trend in. It's very messy at the minute. And look at that reaction to that 4-hour zone, guys. Look at that. So that's what I meant by the likelihood of it reacting to it. I mean, it's highly probable. We need a catalyst, and look at this. Wow. These levels, I tell you guys, the amount of times they're respected, it is crazy, absolutely crazy. And people ask me why or how do I mark in my zones? Well, that's the reason why I mark them in like so. Look at the reaction to that 4,000 level. Wow. How quickly was that? That's go down to the minute time frame. Literally in 2 minutes. This thing is just pumped after tapping to 4K. 150 plus pips. Unbelievable. So there's obviously a lot of orders at that 4K level. But are we going to respect and reject the most recent resistance formed within the current daily candle here on 15? This is a very significant level now to determine whether we're going to get a potential, whether we're going to have a potential buy or sell option, to be honest. Now, off the back of the strength of this candle, I cannot sell it straight away at London Open. Or sorry, in the next M15. Potentially at London Open, but not on the next M15. I need minimum a 15-minute candle closing back bearish. And look at the rejection of that resistance, guys. So hence the reason why I believe these areas are quite significant and why I believe we need to be above it for the buys or below it for a potential sell. But the confirmation for me will be at least that 15-minute closure bearish. Within it, maybe a 5-minute minor support. And as price begins to pop below that minor support in the 5-minute, creating a lower low on the 15, that could be a potential entry option. So the 15 has to close obviously bearish, and within it you want that 5-minute scenario where you get a little bit of a minor support in the 5-minute. As you begin to break that minor support, which is the low of the catalyst M15, that's your potential entry. Now as far as buys, to be honest, and it's not going to happen by the looks of things. It doesn't look like it's going to close above on this candle. Seeing it's come from a low, that is a really big move, and you kind of missed the move. So I'd probably want to wait for a pause for a signal again. So maybe a 15-minute close back, weak bearish back above. Let's just see though. Let's see if it closes above, see what sort of options we may have. Got just under a minute and a half, guys. So let's focus on the gold for a minute. Stefan, audio is not okay. Should be okay, mate. I've got no issues coming up on my end. Ken, insane candle, yep. Huge candle locker, yep. Yeah, Michael, absolutely crazy, isn't it? Lazy homeschool. I have no idea why. Hold on, let me. Why do settings? Do they keep? Oh, let me have a look. All right, I've tried something. I don't know if it's going to improve or not. How about now? Can you guys still hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. You can? Is it better? Way better? Okay, I think I fixed it. I think I fixed it. All right. All right, so we're closed bearish. Sorry, we're closed bullish. We're closed the 15-minute candle, and we're respecting that resistance. All right, so there is no entry at the minute, but if we close back bearish in this 15 and we get that scenario I mentioned moments ago on the 5-minute, so long as we've got the margin. So the issue is if it closes bearish, we don't want to close too far back down close to support, because then we won't have the margin to sell it. The buys are likely going to be at least 30 minutes away if they are to present, to be honest. But we will see. Potentially, look, I would prefer to see a pause. So 15 bearish and followed by bullish engulfing for the buy scenario. This would be my preference for the buy scenario. But let's see. I may consider buys if we do close above this M15 at London Open. I just need to be very careful of the volume that will be likely entering the market, and the fact that London Open, for the most part, the first minute or two, will play about a bit. So I definitely need a decent low wick, and it would need to reject that previous range below. And if it did, then I'd potentially look for the buy off the back of that. So I'm not ruling out any buy option above that resistance without the pause, but I would preference the pause. Sound like I'm singing a phone booth? Really? How about now? Is it worse again? Yeah, to be honest, I have no idea why. So, all right, so we'll just leave it. NG, you're on buy. Should be a good day. Nice one, mate. Yeah, look, some people would have had buy limits of 4,000. Well done. I mean, wow, look at that. Look at the bounce off that level. Crazy stuff here on gold. Absolutely pumping. So there's a chance that I'm not going to even get the option to buy it. So my next potential option could be sells from higher up. We will see though. We will see, guys. Could be a buy process, Fred, Zas, potentially. Rabbi 38.99 I think would be a logical target. That is where on the 4-hour time frame that swing high started from. 38.99 as far as a low point. Yeah, definitely a good level to potentially pull back to. To be honest, I would probably start accumulating more physical at that point. I will buy some more physical either way, but I would love for it to pull back down towards that level. Silver's just a lot easier to buy because obviously it's a lot cheaper. So gold, for the most part, not everyone can always afford 1 ounce of gold at a time. So you're often buying fractional gold, and even that's not cheap. I mean, quarter ounce you're paying Oz about 1,300 plus. 1,300 roughly. It's a quarter ounce these days. That's a tenth. That's 700 roughly. All right, quarter ounce, 1,700 just under. So I mean, it's not exactly for everyone. And you're paying high premium. That's the thing. So you're always better off buying the full ounce if you can, or the bigger portion. Half an ounce, but you know, that's expensive. Said Chimangui, yes. Case multimedia, yep. So no, so it's not a YouTube issue, it's a TikTok thing. All right, so this is where we can perhaps go down to the 5-minute. So we want to see, first of all, has to happen. This candle has to do this. So for me to consider a buy above this resistance, what I need to see for London Open is this candle has to look something like so, followed by that, a little weak pause above the resistance. It's something, it's a little minor barrier, which above it, there is some clean traffic up to the highs. So what I would like to see is that to happen. And what then I'd look for is, again, that still a decent pullback, give us a decent stop loss, reject that previous range below as it begins to flip and break the high of that weak bearish pause, which is also the 15/30/hourly candle closure high. That is the potential entry point. So just playing ahead as to what could happen, what we could look at, what would validate an entry in my eyes. So we got just under 8 minutes for that to present potentially. Red starts by at 4,006 to maximum TP for 100. Nice one, mate. There's a bird. I took 2 buys, one today, 4,001, and one I did yesterday, 4,014, which I'm still in. Fair enough. You probably got a longer term play on it, so you're in profit. Good work. For me, I'm happy to look for sells on a current level if I get the right confirmation, and buys as well. We took both yesterday on stream. Two wins. We took a buy first to a level where we could potentially sell from, and then we took the sell for another win at the end of the stream. So GJ is still in a mess. Let's have a look at GU. Go back to 15 here. Yeah, forget EU. EU looking a bit cleaner. Don't see any potential entry though. Maybe a buy at London Open if this candle closes back weak bearish. Euro CAD. Shit ass. EJ. Flush that down as well. UJ. Making me throw up these currency pairs at the minute. They're all ugly. Bitcoin also bouncing. So very similar. I'm assuming NAS as well. Yep, NAS also did push a little bit. Did rebound a little bit. German 40. So they're all basically the same. So a bit of dollar weakness at the minute. All right, so for the sells, if we do reject and close weak bullish here, we could have sell options, guys, London Open. Because what I'm seeing is we've pulled back above that resistance. And what I mentioned at the beginning of the stream when I was doing my analysis is if we pull back only to respect and reject it, then we're going to be looking for our sell options. Now, this would suggest we've grabbed some upside liquidity in order to potentially make the move back down to retest the low. And if you've got the volume and momentum, pop below support and push down to the next potential level here. So we will consider the sells too. Let's have a look in a 5 minute. Is there any support? There is no support. So it'd be just off the back of the potential rejection here in the M15. Now, we could use the fib here as well. Marking from high to low. And we definitely want to be closing below to 0.382. And that would suggest to me, once again, that it is a weak bullish candle closure. And what we've likely done is just grab that upside liquidity. And so long as the new candle creates a bit of an upper wick and then begins to break the low of this bearish candle, of this weak bullish candle, sorry, that could be us all the way back down to the current daily candles low. So let's keep an eye on that for a potential sell option. Now, we definitely would need an upper wick, because the fact of the matter is, if we were to use the technical stop loss based off the current candle, you're looking at some 75, 76, 77 sort of pips. Not great, to be honest. So I would have to do what I did yesterday and wait for a decent upper wick, especially seeing it session open, and then use that as the level where I would not want to be involved in the trade anymore if it did eventually pop back above it. So that is what I'm currently potentially looking at when it comes to the downside, guys. To the upside, this is also not a bad scenario, because what we've done is, and you often hear me say this, we're triggered in sellers at a level of resistance, albeit on the 5 minute. However, if we were to continue bearish, then there is no need to pop back above and close above. So if we do close above here on this 5 minute, we'll have the confirmation of the 1 hour, the M30, M15, M5, all closing above a resistance. And that will give me a confirmation to look for a potential buy. Similar to the downside, I would need a decent lower wick on the new candle, preferencing it tapping back into that previous range only to reject, and off the back of that I could use that as my stop loss. So we could have some potential options at London Open, guys. Keeping a close eye on things. I'll keep you as posted as I possibly can. Sean going to sell last night, 500 ticks, 15 minutes to move, nice one. NG, gold should fly soon. Can do whatever it wants. I'm just going to look to react to what I see happening once I have the right confirmation to do so. A bark, good morning to you. Re-entry soon. User has been no entry to re-enter, but there could be an entry soon. Sam, the pair is spot gold. XAUUSD. Yara, can you show me where you mark for our support? For our support, we've got 2 minutes, so I'll quickly show. To be honest, well, that's the body of the candle that starts the most recent support prior to the move down. So prior to the left of the current price action. But what I initially had was dragged down to that level, because below there's a little bit more margin. But for the sake of the aesthetics of the stream, I've adjusted it to 15 to a level where we do have some bit of clean traffic below it, so you could potentially look for a sell, but I'd probably avoid it. But again, if you want to know how to mark up the charts, mate, re-watch the beginning of the YouTube stream. I do suggest subscribing to the YouTube channel. We'll upload more educational content soon, and one of those videos will be on how I mark up the charts. How I mark up, yeah, exactly, my zones. Kelvin, no, I'm in Oz, my friend. You're already running to sell at 4,038. Fair enough. Bit of a wait though. So for Abdi, potentially, but I want to close below this horizontal, because that would suggest to me it is a weak closure. Weak bullish closure, and we'll likely just grab upside liquidity. Kelvin, if you're in USA, not in USA, mate. I have no idea about the broker. Been asked that question many times. I have no idea, my friend. All right, just under a minute, guys. So this is not ideal, to be honest. We want it to drop below this horizontal. Doesn't look like we're going to close above it, above the resistance, so there may not be an option just yet. Come on, reject a little bit more. Again, this is rule-based trading, guys, so there is no FOMO, there is no, not sure, should I not? I have no idea. It's just, if it ticks the box, it ticks the box. There's a valid entry. If it doesn't tick the box, you know there's no entry, and you know there's likely a good reason for it. So the amount of times you've also seen me being spared a loss by sticking to my rules in the stream is unreal. So there is no entry at the minute. It did not tick the box. Just need to wait. So what that means now to the downside is I need to wait for this. And again, as data prints, I reassess, and very, very simple moving forward. Something like this, the downside, and that will validate itself on the next M15. Let's have a look at the upside. The upside, a little bit more tricky. We're probably going to need to look at the 5-minute to gather more confluence. So perhaps on the 5-minute, you want to start to see something like this. Maybe even if this candle is bearish, doesn't really make a difference. And then it pops up, and then you got another little weak pause above it, but still closing above it. So just a few potential scenarios here. That should be bearish, but anyway. We'll think about closer to closure of this candle when we know more about the potential direction. Thank you for the YouTube sub, by the way. Guys, don't forget TikTok. Jump across the YouTube stream at some point, just in case I do get a ban. I have been banned on this account. I lost it. I did start it for like a few weeks last year. Got banned pretty quick smart, but I've been able to hold it for a year now. But just in case I am streaming live on YouTube, you do get the full screen. You do get all the price bar on the right as well, so you know the actual current price level. So yeah, have a look at it. It's the exact same profile name. Yusufa, what is your entry zone? Levels of interest 4,014 to 16. That's the level we're just rejecting. 4,000 flat. 4,023, 24, 25. AJ, how I made that sell zone? It's based off the most recent resistance form within the current daily candle on the move to the downside. So obviously we've had a pause just here. We did form support at previous support, only to be wiped out, and we end up closing back bearish to come back down to the support lower down. So that is the level where if we are to continue bullish, I'd want price to be above, and we can see we have recently just rejected that level. So once again, everyone does it differently. You do what works for you. What works for me is to use, for instance, the highest point of any bearish candle at this level to the closest body of any bearish candle. And what I often find is price does respect that level so many times. So that's how I do it. That's what works for me. Others don't use zones. Others just use horizontals, and that's fair game if it works for them. Again, I will do a video on it. I've got a pen handy. I'll write it down so I don't forget. Yeah, so I wrote it down, guys. Sean, buy on the hour. Let's have a look at the 1 hour. Yeah, I mean, it does suggest we'll grab downside liquidity, but the issue is you're buying it into another level of resistance. So to me, that is 1 hour resistance. So I don't see a potential buy of the hourly. This is gold up to its tricks at the minute. Really need to be patient, guys. Already you're in a buy from 399. Reason for buy daily time frame. Happy for you, my friend. Hope you love your discipline. Thank you, my friend. Hope you, well, glad you appreciate. Sorry, I hope you appreciate. Yosef, did London session start? Yes, it just did. Just a few minutes back, 5 minutes ago. Wow, look at this. Wow. So now it's starting to push back up. Yeah, it's a bit tricky. I mean, not a bad 5-minute candle, liquidity candle. It's not a quality entry though for me. NG gold is flying. It is at the minute. Sean Anson buying 1 hour, set to break even now too. Fair enough. Fair enough. There's quality AMD entry now. Distribution up. No idea what AMD is. Isn't it a graphics processor or something? AMD, FVG, blah blah blah. That's what it is to me. All right, so the next option is just resistance sells. This is pumping. Did the same shit yesterday, Neon guys, remember? And then it rejected. Getting emotional, getting pissed off because I wanted to drop. I'm so hard that gold drops. And again, it's got nothing to do with trading. I love trading up, down, whatever. It's accumulation. Because if gold pumps, silver's going to pump harder. It's just fact. Silver is obviously more easy to move. It's a smaller market cap. It flies harder, it drops harder. In G, I will consider following my plan, and that's what I always do. So I'm not going to deviate from it. I could not care less if you are all in buys. It's so easy for you guys to come on and say I'm in a buy from so and so after it's made the move. I'm the one putting myself on the line. I do what works for me. So I consider what I want to consider. I was considering a buy. I didn't have the right confirmation. I'm a very disciplined trader, very strict to my rules, and there's a reason for it. And if 80+% win rate on the stream for over a year now is not, you know, a sole enough reason as to why I stick to my rules, that includes 134 wins and 33 losses, then I don't know what justifies me doing what I do. I have no idea. What more? Consider a buy. Was considering a buy, there was no entry for me. Was considering a sell, there was no entry for me. So I need to be patient and just wait. Not get involved in the market when I'm not sure because I don't have the right confirmation. I sit aside. I don't just right. I think it's going up, so let's just buy it. That's reckless. That is stupidity. And if I got wrecked, I would be really, really pissed off with myself. Lachlan, thank you guys for the stickers. Appreciate it. Sean CP hit, fantastic. Fareed, I'm happy for you, mate. Yeah, that's what makes you a good one. Thank you. Humble OL fact. Thank you, mate. Angwin, nice record, mate. And way to stick to your rules. Exactly. So, thank you guys. There is a reason as to why I do it. Again, how often I call it that, you know, this level of reason beans because it's a 4-hour level or so and so, it's a psychological round number. We get a reaction, but I still need to wait for a confirmation because it could have easily just nosedived through it. Yes, it bounces off it, but it doesn't mean it's not going to close back bearish. So I need to just patiently wait. If I have the confirmation, fantastic. If I don't, so be it. Could not be, you know, couldn't give a shit, to be honest. Not chillis, sorry. Delicious. Yes. Not chillis, good morning to you. Fine again. Lockie, if you listen to old mate and bought, you would have been down now. Yep, ain't no casino. Exactly. It was not into patience pace. I was not in trading games, fair enough. Yeah, you don't always need to be involved. Sean answered on 1 hour, don't mind the support being a little close. I'll move break even. The resistance, yeah, look, that's fair enough. You called it. I respect that more than someone who just comes on and 300 pips in profit or whatever. I'm happy for you, but all at the time, you get a lot more credit for it. Chillis, good morning and chilling with you. Good morning to you, mate. Good evening from Melbourne, where the traffic just gets worse and worse. And the doors are wide open. Make of that what you will, but it's true, it's fact. Albanese, get that stupid smile off your face, you prick. I swear I'd smash him if I saw him out in public. Hold me back, hold me back. He's a dog, that guy. He's an absolute flog. Makes me sick. He wasn't that far from my neck of the woods the other day. Wish I knew about it before it was too late. Oh, mate. What sort of democracy is it when you've only got two party preferred? You can choose between two parties. That's not a democracy. That's not a freedom of choice. Lachlan? There's some very good people, but there are people who abuse the right to be here. And in other countries around the world. Smoke effect, 64 pips opening, done for the day. Nice one. Good work, KSS Multimedia. Looks like we missed out today. Yeah, it's nothing to me. It's not a missed move. I don't see it's a missed move because it's not a planned move. It didn't, you know, didn't tick the box in accordance to my plan. So just means it's a no trade. So what that means to me is I need to again just reassess and wait for a confirmation if I was to trade on. And again, we saw yesterday, get the option to take the buy first of all, and then we got the option to sell it later on. So how's the corner? Did you see that Neo N get booted? I'm not too sure what you mean by that, to be honest. Oh, sorry. now I know what you mean. No, I don't know what you're talking about though, to be honest. I don't know what you mean now. Put two and two together. Lucky Ray, Sean, think we should make Oz our prisoner? Probably. Well, to be honest, it kind of more. You're probably better off being in prison in this country, in all honesty. It's probably safer. At least you got a bed. You don't have to worry about food and all that. Wow. Gold. Oof. I mean, it'd be not much difference because in prison you look over your shoulder. out in public here, you look over your shoulder. More drugs out of prison than in prison, so probably better off in prison, to be honest. There's a gym there. Most of them would have TVs and PlayStations and all that shit, so it's probably not a bad place to be. Honey, 4,030. Destination, next destination, potentially 34, 35. EOB, buy or sell, nothing at the minute. Burrito, again, I'm happy for you, mate. Call it at the very beginning when you're taking a trade. If not, you just do your own stream, my friend. Because every time you come on here, you're in a winning trade. I never hear of you losing a trade. Not once. You're not here every day, so I'm assuming every other day you're losing. A1, is it bearish or bullish on a one-day perspective? Structurally, it's bullish, the way I see it. And I know everyone's going to say, no, it's not. It is. The way I see it. We all have a right to our own opinion. But I'm not really looking at the structure because I'm scalping. So I'm more concerned by the actual candles themselves. The current and the previous. And the level we're at. So I do believe that we could potentially still come back down a little bit further. So not yet tapped into the daily support at 39.74, 75, 78. The way I see the structure is the fact that this is the highest point and the all-time high, obviously. So I look to the left of that and I ask myself, where was the last two or more consecutive candle pullback in the opposite direction to the trend? So we've got here one candle, so it's a pause. Here one candle, so that's a pause. Here one candle. So these pauses to me are not, they don't validate a swing. What validates a swing is the two or more consecutive candles pulling back in the opposite direction. So that's that point there, and that's just what works for me. That's something I was taught by my previous mentor as well, and it just works for me. We never looked at it though on 15. I look at it on the 15. I don't look at it in the 30 anymore. But yeah, so until it actually cracks that 36.50 roughly, I see the daily structure as being bullish. But we never looked at the daily candle and previous for the general direction for the scalp as to what I do now. I don't worry about daily structure. Me, it's of no relevance when it comes to looking for a trade. As Cornet did a protest the parliament and he got kicked out. I hate fools. Yeah, it's a joke. It's like they'll... I've got to be careful what I say, to be honest. Don't get me wrong, I don't like those people, but I... freedoms. Yeah, I agree. Also all good. Sure, I'm breaking out of this range now. It looks like it could, but have a look at the 4 hour. Still very bearish here on the 4 hour though. You ready? Nice one. Goldie will come in 38 minutes. Fareed, I do not let people on my stream unless they are a member. There's good reason for that, because I don't want my stream to be, I don't want to be banned if someone doing or saying something stupid. That's alright, Fareed, but do you ever take a loss? Because you never ever mention a loss, not once. Deeper is selling now? No, there's no confirmation. Sean needs to flip for a buy entry. The buy entry is way too far gone. From the daily low, we've pushed almost 300 pips. I'm not buying it above the high. Not until it resets. It needs a proper reset. I'm not interested in buying it. Even on the next candle, to be honest. You know, why do you choose M15? Gives me opportunities, and I feel it's a strong enough confirmation too when it comes to price action. I used to use mainly the 30-minute, and I used to miss a lot of trades. I'm really struggling to find entries, so I shifted down to the 15, gave it a proper go, and it works pretty much just the same with the same sort of confirmations and same rules. So I've shifted across to 15 and looking at the 5 at times for the confluence and to validate the entry as well. Kian? No, I've not traded. Not fast at all. I've not had a confirmation to trade. Gold follows macro known pins, NG. Gold follows structure. Gold follows price action. Again, I do what works for me. It's not my opinion that, you know, my opinion was it's going to bounce on this 4-hour level, but what I need is a confirmation. So again, I do what works for me, and I didn't have that confirmation. Well, I did have a bullish engulfing, but it tapped into target, and there was no, we closed below the resistance, so there's no confirmation. So once again, I mean, my record speaks for itself, so I do what works for me. I could not give a rat's ass. And that's just, I'm being honest, guys. I'm not being rude. I could not give a rat's ass. Someone's ready to buy or sell. Good on you. Happy for you. But I don't feel any pressure. I just need to do what works for me. And the record speaks for itself. Understand, but I've never been banned. Read. Why have you streamed live? Jeez, gotta love it. KWS multimedia. I see resistance at 4,026 and breaks. I think we'll go bull. Yeah, 26 is pretty much the level we're tapped into. Rens, do you trade market structure and price action? Pretty much, yes. It's market effects, 15 minutes is a sweet spot, to be honest, along with 5 minute. Yep, I think it's a pretty good time frame. Alright, so for there to be a valid sell option, and this will be the last chance for me to get involved in trade on today's stream, what I need to see is I want this count to close strong. Strong bearish. This 5 minute candle. Strong rejection of that resistance. Then what I want to see is the following 5 minute candle closing back weak bullish. Bringing that little bit of minor support back below the resistance. What that's going to do is close the M15. Looking like so. After rejecting the resistance to the upside. As long as the new candle creates an upward wick and begins to break low of our catalyst M15, which will also be breaking a 5 minute support, that could be enough to validate an entry for me. So again, this is what I'm looking at, and this is my plan. If it doesn't tick the box, I could not give a rat's ass. I move on. Very simple. Because one bearish candle without that minor support in the 5 minute to me could just be a little bit of a pause against this really strong bullish candle. So to validate an entry based off just one bearish candle without that little 5 minute support being formed and broken, the next thing I need is a bearish engulfing. That again is just following my rules, playing to my strengths. That is a signal. For that to happen is highly unlikely. For that to happen, stop loss is huge. For that to happen, there's going to be very small margin back down to the support. So it's not the type of catalyst I would look for in this scenario. So once again, guys, this is all documented. It's all, from experience over the past 8+ years, and it's all what works for me. So if it presents, I'm happy to take a trade. If it doesn't present, I'm happy to miss the trade. And again, it's not a missed trade. It's just not a trade that's valid in accordance to my plan, my rules. So simple. There's no FOMO. There's no I'm not sure. Close bearish. Just going to sell it. There's none of that. It's taken a lot of hard labor of years of time on the charts. Honestly, mentally draining myself. Nate, you lost your whole equity. That's not good. Trading games, unfortunately, YouTube's broadcasting a live stream with a delay. Shouldn't be. It should be ultra low latency. Should be like 2 or 3 seconds. Yeah, I've mentioned it only 100 times in the past probably 2 weeks. Girodi, wow, you explain really well. Thank you, mate. Again, it's just what works for me. It's experience. So to the upside, we've made a significant move. So what I would need is a bit of a pause here in a 15, and I want it to close above the resistance, so that's not even possible. So pause means we need a bearish closure, triggering sellers. Now, if it closed, so for there to be a valid buy, if there was to be on the next candle, this candle would have had to have closed somewhat like so, and the following candle would have had to close somewhat like so. Triggering sellers, close back bearish, tapped into the range below, only to reject, close back above, recreate that little minor barrier above the resistance. As the new candle creates a low wick, begins to flip and break above the high, there's your entry. So seeing that's not going to happen, but if it does close back bearish, the next option to the upside is bullish engulfing back above. Very simple, extremely simple. That would validate an entry in accordance to my plan. And again, I'm not sure what to do. You know exactly what you want to look for. And again, it comes with time on the charts, it comes with experience, it comes with journaling, documenting. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears, believe you me. All right, this candle has to close weak bullish and really weak bullish, almost the doji, because if it closes a little bit too strong, the M15 is going to be a really shitty weak closure. So I'll stick around to the closure of this M30. Because you got to remember as well, guys, we're going up against the higher time frame. The 30 is going to close back a strong bullish candle. So I really want that minor support. SB, GJ. Made a decent move up. Still reckon it looks like arse though. To be honest, it's just consolidating. I just don't see anything clean on it. Mantis, sure bro, thank you. Sean, buy order still not being triggered, so we chilling. Fair enough. Fred yesterday called the sell as well. Yesterday he called the sell. Mate, go onto the YouTube stream and rewatch the whole stream. Rewatch from the beginning, my analysis. Rewatch it. As I said, we take the buy option to look for the sell option up high, and it's exactly what we did, and we had the right confirmation to do so. Go watch it. Go rewatch it. You called it. Yeah, it's my stream, mate. I'm the one calling things. You can call what you want. Call it in real time. You get more credit. Don't call it after the fact. You get no credit for that. Rens. Oh, sorry. 1 Rens. I'm new to market structure and price action. What rules to use? Financial struggle with that lot. And there's many different ones. You're just gonna have to watch the streams. I mean, bearish engulfing or engulfing candles are a significant one. Liquidity candles, there's a few different confirmations, in my opinion, of a liquidity candle. What justifies a liquidity candle? Yeah, you just need to watch the streams, my friend. All right, let's see. Rabbi, just don't waste time. Yeah, fair enough. It's true, mate. Agreed. All right, again, we don't want to close too weak though. The 15. All right, let's have a look at the fib. 0.382 is right where we're at now. Let's look at the 5 minute. Yeah, we want to close below it. but bullish. We want it to close bullish below that level. Again, there's a reason for it. Got that little minor support back below the resistance that, again, this is the 5 minute, but if we were to continue bullish, there is not much of a need to break that minor resistance, which would also be, support, which would also be the 15-minute candle low. So we want this to close back weak bullish, below that 0.382, and if so, I need an upper wick, and then I'll look to set a sell stop below the low of this 15-minute candle. Oh, it's trying. Let's see. What is the low? 28. Not gonna happen, guys. Alright. Not valid. Again, it's just following rules. And now if it drops, it drops. There is nothing to do about it. It's not my trade. All good. Alright, so that being said, guys, what I'm going to do is go make some dinner. I'm starving. I've had a crazy day. I've been up since 5 a.m. Actually, quarter to 5 a.m. So what I would look for, next potential options, guys, if this 15 closes weak bullish, once again, you got the same sort of scenario formed on the 15 as what I mentioned on the 5. And therefore, your entry will be back below the 15-minute weak bullish candles low. Once again, you can use the fib. So from high off the candle to the low, wherever the high is to the low, and you want to concentrate at 0.382. And if price closes weak bullish below 0.382, what I'd be looking for is the new candle to open up, crane up a wick, and then set sell stop below low of this week's support. To the upside, what you want to see is the bullish engulfing scenario, or at least engulfing the body. In that case, you're back above that previous resistance. Then what you need to wait for is a bit of low wick, and I would set the buy stop above the high of that bearish candle. Otherwise, guys, your next options are going to be buys from back at the support. If it does begin to pull back, I'd be looking for, obviously, buys from the high-low confirmation. Technically speaking, structure's not flipped yet in the 15. We have respected it. The last significant high-low is this wick here, and we have closed below it. We've wicked above it, so again, hence the significance of that level and why we want to be above it in order to look for any continuation buys. So wait for that, patiently wait for the confirmation of the closure above this blue zone. And then you've got a confirmation of a structure flip. Also wiped out those sellers, and it's more probable that price is going to, once creating a low wick, begin to continue to the upside. So that's something you could potentially be on the lookout for moving forward. I would not be chasing this buy just now. The other potential option for those who are aware or who know of this entry, which is, you know, if you watch my streams, you would have heard of it before, is the gold interruption candle entry. So if this closes bullish engulfing with the volume on gold right now, I would preference it closing at least 25 pips above the high of that bearish candle minimum. If that is the case, you could potentially look at a limit order buy above or at the high of that bearish candle. Stop loss have to be, technically speaking, below low of the interruption candle. Pretty wide stop loss. Conditions of that trade is it can't tap into target, so target being that resistance to the left prior to the closure of this candle, so this candle can't do that. And the following candle, whatever the highest point of this current candle is to be, so if it's, let's just say, this level, following candle can't wick down and then break the high. That's a shit illustration, but if as soon as it breaks the high, you're not triggered in, to me it's not as probable. It's still, it's an entry I am testing out more, the delayed interruption entry. I don't trust it as much though as the continuation interruption entry. That would be my plan, but I'm going to make dinner, so I will, yeah, go off, chill for a bit, have some dinner. Looks like it's going to tap into target, so it's just need to wait, guys. Once again, guys, appreciate all the support. Close Mondays, Tuesdays, not a problem, mate. Not a problem. Might pop down for my my sister and maybe a few people at some point when I got time, mate. Being hard pressed for time at the minute, but I do appreciate. Some boss golden lens, please drop me tutorials. Just keep watching. I will be doing more educational content, so keep an eye out for it. Paul, cheers to you. Tommy, good day to you, mate. Rabbi, appreciate it, mate. Appreciate the support, really do. Yeah, that's about it. YouTube, I'll be back tomorrow. TikTok will be back tomorrow from the normal time. So that's 5:45 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. That is 6:45 a.m. for those of you in the UK. The rest of you can work it out. Till then, trade safe, don't do anything stupid, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Cheers, team. Bye for now.